Where is it? I thought it was in here somewhere. Huh. All right. Oh, there he is, Gary Bowser. Okay, it's gonna be talking about Gary Bowser. All right, let's watch it.
Generally speaking, Nintendo is one of the most beloved companies on Earth. But for a handful of folks out there, the company has caused nothing but pain and financial turmoil. See, over the years, Nintendo has proven to be quite litigious, with the company aggressively going after any who dare to violate its intellectual property rights and those.
I'm sorry, they sued Blockbuster? Nintendo once sued Blockbuster for renting out games? That's stupid. I think the problem when it comes to okay, I think most of the problems when it comes to Nintendo's fucking copyright system and shit like that is mostly obviously due to the fact that they're a Japanese company. So the laws in Japan are more different and sort of around different. But not only that, but they also are very heavily about they also care very heavily about their IP so much. So it's a mix of both things, a horrible mix of both things of like Japanese laws being different than American laws, and you know them being very strict about their IP because they don't want other people to try and try and ruin it.
Aggressively going after any who dare to violate its intellectual property rights and those who threaten the company's family-friendly branding. Many of these disputes have resulted in civil lawsuits, and some who have crossed the Big N have even been thrown into prison. From a man named Bowser being jailed by Nintendo,
No!
to an 18-year-old Nintendo hacker arrested for CP, to an Australian Nintendo fanatic sued by the company for sharing his copy of New Super Mario Bros. Wii, these are the folks who cross Nintendo and
He probably did it for some illegal reason, but I like to imagine he's just handing out his copy to other people like across the street from him, and he just keeps doing that for like years, and then the police like an entire SWAT team shows up, and he's like, "Sir, you are under arrest. Put down that copy of Super Mario Bros. Wii." And then he just like puts his hand up with the copy there in front of him, and he's like, "Put it down. Put it down. Stop trying to share that copy with me. I don't want to play it." And then he's like, "Oh, well, what are you talking about, officer?" And he's waving around the copy of weed around, and he's like, "Men fire on sight."
lost.
That's kind of dark, actually. Holy fuck! But still, it's kind of funny. To be honest, he actually did deserve it. Obviously, he deserved it for obvious reasons. It's just that the punishment that he got, holy shit, it was terrifying.
This is the Gary Bowser story. Gary Bowser is a technology
Also, that's what he looked like?
from Montreal, Canada. Bowser had been obsessed with electronics since he was a young boy, first tinkering with model trains. His penchant for gadgets and tech only grew with age. In the 1980s, the young man became heavily interested with video gaming and computers, and he made up the cohort of what some might call the first generation of PC gamers. Gary's knack for computers and gaming ultimately resulted in him starting a small computer business. He was an OG computer whiz and was an expert at navigating operating systems and repairing broken machines. Sadly, to scratch this itch, Gary would turn to the criminal world of hacking, cracking open proprietary software for his own amusement. Fast forwarding a bit to the early 2010s, Gary Bowser at this time was a member of a notorious online hacking circle known as Team Executor. Executor was known for developing gaming mod chips and jailbreak devices used to circumvent copy protection native to gaming consoles. Team Executor targeted the Nintendo 3DS, GameCube, NES Classic Edition, Sony PlayStation, Microsoft Xbox, the 360.
How do you target the GameCube exactly? I mean, because that thing didn't have online, so I don't know. Just kind of, it's a little questionable, but that's fine. I don't remember any of these. The only thing I remember from hacking Nintendo consoles was homebrew, and that's it. That's as far as my hacking experience ever goes. I never actually used it. I just heard of it. I actually tried to get it on my Wii U, but I realized you need a computer and maybe some USB shit and an SD card. I might hack my Wii U one day because I shouldn't say that out loud. I should say that out loud, but I might do it just because, you know, I don't use it anymore. And heck, I could use an emulation machine or something. Better than having all my emulators on PC. Holy fuck! I'm really like getting in Nintendo's crosshair.
Individual could purchase one of their copy protection circumvention devices, put it in their hardware, and essentially download any pirated game to it. Team Executor tried to camouflage their illegal activity by promoting their products as a way for aspiring game developers to design their own video games for non-commercial use. But let's keep it real, people were buying this shit so they could just download games illegally.
Yep.
Team Executor's brazen pirating would continue on for years unchecked, but several members of Team Executor, including Gary Bowser, were arrested. At the time, Bowser was living in the Dominican Republic. He was deported from the country and compelled to appear in federal court shortly after to face criminal charges stemming from his involvement in the Nintendo IP hacking ring. The contextually hilariously named Gary Bowser was charged with 11 felony counts, including but not limited to conspiracy to commit wire fraud itself, conspiracy to commit money laundering, conspiracy to circumvent technological measures, and to traffic in circumvention devices, and trafficking in circumvention devices. The wiring and money laundering.
I'm sorry, what's the difference between conspiracy to wire fraud and then wire fraud? Isn't conspiracy meant you're assuming what they're doing is wrong, and then wire fraud is they're exactly doing that, you have 100% evidence? Maybe I don't know laws that much, but I feel like that's kind of a little bullshit in my opinion. Like conspiracy to circumvent technological measurements. Here we go. To traffic circumvent devices. And did they repeat a few laws here, or is that just me? Maybe I'm being zero brain. I'm not sure.
Devices and trafficking in circumvention devices. The wiring and money laundering charges were each punishable with a sentence of up to 20 years in prison.
Ah, shit.
Conspiracy and trafficking circumvention charges were punishable with a sentence of up to 5 years. However, it turned out that Gary's involvement on the hacking side of things was actually rather limited. It was later found that Gary Bowser didn't have any major responsibilities in producing the products used to circumvent Nintendo game systems.
Yeah, he really
and the
didn't.
man simply acted as a marketing and PR manager for the Executor product team. However, ironically, despite his limited role on the hacking side of things, Gary Bowser would be the only person from the team to receive a prison sentence in the United States. Prosecutors essentially considered Gary Bowser the public face of the company, and his marketing ability is what got these circumvention products into the hands of consumers around the world. Or maybe prosecutors thought it would be funny to convict a man named Gary Bowser in a trial involving Nintendo.
I wish it was. I wish that was the reason why. Nah, but people decided to just, okay, we'll make him the face of this company that's evil and shit like that. I mean, heck, that's what kind of YouTubers been doing. I mean, whenever like this NX stuff comes up, I mean, obviously because his name is Gary Bowser, it's gonna be obviously a little funny, but also, very serious of a crime.
Since being convicted, Gary Bowser was personally sued by Nintendo and has been compelled to pay $10 million in order to settle this lawsuit. The man is now in enormous debt and will reportedly have to pay Nintendo stipends from his paychecks for the rest of his life. In a recent podcast appearance filmed in April of 2023, Gary Bowser revealed that he was being held at the Northwest Detention Center in Tacoma, Washington. In this chat, he announced that he was
surprised I got a podcast on
to get out of prison early for good behavior.
So, Gary, when you get out of, what's the time frame thing of when you should be finally processed and they, I guess deport you to where you're going? How is that going?
Well, the good thing is I already went to court once I was in quarantine. So I did my court on April the 4th, and then I was already filled with all my documentation on April the 7th. So now I'm just waiting for the new passport and everything. That's the good thing is I'm further along than almost everybody here.
I was about to say, why is he smiling here, but like, obviously putting a serious face here. Just really, that's just a fucking still frame. I don't know what he's using, but I guess it's not Instagram. It's not Instagram.
I think we're on the 3rd week now, so I'll be within a week and a half.
What will become of the man after the fact remains unknown. But needless to say, if this man has any sense, he'll never cross Nintendo again.
He buys Mario. He buys the new Zelda game when he goes out, and he's like, nah, stop. We're gonna sue you for another $1 million. You gotta owe us more money. We need more budget to make Zelda Breath of the Wild 3.
A heinous crime at a sanctioned Pokemon card game tournament. their actions landing them in prison.
I
The
think I've heard of this
Pokemon World
story.
Championship is an invite-only tournament sanctioned by the Pokemon Company itself, which is under Nintendo's ownership. The first Pokemon World Championship began in 2004 and has been an annual occurrence ever since, with thousands being in attendance each year. For the sake of this story, we'll be discussing the Pokemon World Championship from 2015 and some disturbing events that unfolded during it. This whole debacle begins with 18-year-old Kevin Norton and 27-year-old James Stumbo, at least you would think. In the wake of the invitations, you might
I want to be honest, I have no idea how to play Pokemon card. I don't have no idea how to play the freaking card game. I own a bunch of the cards. I have a bunch of cards. Obviously, I even have like a fucking folder and shit. I have no idea how to play that game. I just like collecting the cards because they're fucking cute. I remember like an entire page dedicated to Pikachu. I'm just missing like one card where I can put the Pikachu EX, which is probably like fucking like I think it's like $5 on Amazon or something, or on eBay. But yeah, I have no idea. And plus, I actually this is gonna be dumb, but I have like a time waster video. I have a video that I've labeled as like a time waster or a budget, a huge ass budget video, where it's just purchasing like 100 ass card packs and just opening them on stream. Basically, what everybody else has already done. I just want to do that because it sounds fun, even though it's probably gonna be a huge time waster. But who knows? I'll probably get to that. But in the meantime, I'll keep that on the back burner whenever I'm ready to waste like a huge amount of money.
I'd imagine the boys would graciously thank the community or the Pokemon Company for sending them these invitations. But no, that's not what they did at all. Oddly enough, what we got instead was the boys taking to social media, issuing veiled threats of violence targeting the event itself in the days leading up to it. For example, just 2 days before the tournament was to take place, James Stumbo would post the following warning to his Facebook page: "Kevin Norton and I are ready for Worlds. Boston, here we come." This blurb was ominously paired with an image featuring an AR-15 and a pump-action shotgun placed on the trunk of a white sedan. In the replies, one
Why?
Facebook user wrote, "Good luck," and Kevin Norton replies, "With killing the competition?" The other user says, "Haha, yes." It's also alleged that around this time, Kevin and James had made various threats of violence on a Pokemon trading card game forum. One of his 20th of 2015, members of the Boston Regional Intelligence Center had received the Pokemon forum moderator's tip regarding the threats of violence issued by the two on social media. And as a result of this, Kevin and James were stopped while trying to register at the event itself. When questioned by the authorities about the threats they had made online, James Stumbo said that his messages were taken out of context and his messages were nothing more than a comedic bit. But how much of a bit really was it? As it's reported later in his interview with the police that he confessed to having guns in his vehicle at the time. Naturally, this admission was extremely disturbing with the context. It was looking like Kevin and James may have actually had plans to commit something like what they described or hinted at in that Facebook.
They wanted to seize all the EX cards. No wonder. If this would have gone through, this would have caused a massive drop in the Pokemon card game. Actually, no, would it have caused a drop on the economy for that game, or like the values of the cards? I feel like it wouldn't. Why am I comparing a what if scenario of like violence?
I'm telling you, man, Pokemon, Nintendo, don't fuck with these guys. They're gonna get you. You're gonna get got. As I mentioned briefly earlier, it's not known to this.
I mean, that's true, but they didn't get sued or something. I mean, they just went to jail. It's kind of it. I mean, there wasn't any harsh punishment. I mean, that's not like, I'm not expecting like Nintendo or Pokemon Company to like, oh, you owe us all your, we're gonna repossess all your valuable cards or something like that. I'm just saying they didn't really do anything. They just got arrested by like normal means, not through, I guess, Nintendo or Pokemon Company's means.
Also possible, in July of 2016, Kevin and
Damn.
James would change their verdict from not guilty to guilty. James Stumbo pled guilty for possession of the rifle, and Norton pled guilty for possession of the shotgun, and both would admit guilt for possessing the ammunition. Both Kevin Norton and James Stumbo were ultimately sentenced to serve 2 years in prison, as well as 2 years of probation, and were ordered to undergo mental health evaluation. All I gotta say in wrapping this story up is big shout out to that Pokemon forum moderator that gave the initial tip that got the ball rolling with these guys getting arrested.
I'm sure he's probably like somewhere on Reddit or something, trying to tell everyone that Logan Paul is the reason that most Pokemon cards are the reason are have a high value because of him. Is that's not really something I want to bring up, but yeah, it's something I heard basically like because Logan Paul basically when he opened up the cards and basically said some random stuff about their value, that's what jacked up their like prices or I guess their worth because of like a famous influencer telling you about what the price is.
As if that wasn't the case, we could have been dealing with another David Katz situation here. We'll learn about another Nintendo violating miscreant
Cat?
after a brief message from today's sponsor.
Oh
Today's
no!
video is
I'm
sponsored
sorry.
by Keeps, and to be
No,
also
no, no, no.
from Palmdale, California. The
Oh
young
no!
man had already gained notoriety for being quite the hacker at only 16 years old. In 2016, Ryan and an online associate managed to use a deceitful phishing technique and stole the credentials of a Nintendo employee. This exploit was used to gain access to confidential files related to Nintendo's consoles and games. Some of this hacked info included pre-release data regarding the Nintendo Switch, which hadn't even been announced yet. Ryan would leak this Nintendo Switch information to the public, which included specs and the actual physical design of the console itself. Naturally, Nintendo considered their unannounced console being leaked onto the internet a pretty big deal, and they managed to track old Ryan down with the help of the FBI. The feds were on the case and investigated the breach, which led them down a virtual
Hello, Poos Bird. Yeah, I know. You said play FNAF 1. I said I'll do it eventually, just not right now, obviously.
The young man promised to stop any further cybercrime activity and said that he understood the consequences if he tried to hack Nintendo again.
He
Those
did it
consequences
again.
being he would be arrested and taken to jail, even if he was a minor. So the feds pretty much gave Ryan a slap on the wrist, told him to not hack Nintendo anymore, and they went on their way.
I honestly think Nintendo's reaction to that would be like, "What the hell's your problem? He's gonna do it again. Take him to jail right now." No, what? You guys only gave him a slap on the wrist? No, we want him in jail. Put him in jail. He deserves it. Put him in. What's that punishment called? The one where you're locked up in a room with no windows? Solitary confinement. Put him in solitary confinement. All right. Put him in there. God.
Within these hard drives, the feds indeed found evidence proving that he had continued his Nintendo hacking endeavors.
Oh,
However,
wait, I think I
inside
know
these
this.
hard drives, the FBI found something far more concerning. Forensic analysis of his devices revealed that Ryan had used the internet to collect more than 1,000 videos and images of minors engaging in sexually explicit conduct. Ryan had stored this despicable content in a folder titled, quote, "bad stuff." After the discovery of this CP collection, Ryan Hernandez, the famous Nintendo leaker, was immediately arrested. In April of 2020, at the age of 21, Ryan pled guilty to the federal charges of both Back before digital video game releases, generally speaking, Australia was the last region in the world to get access
Here we
to
go.
a game
This is
on
the Wii.
store shelves. However, there were some exceptions to this rule, with some releases involving Australians getting first dibs. And this story involves a man who, even with the early Australian release, couldn't wait to get his hands on New Super Mario Bros. Wii, and his actions led him to face serious civil consequences. The story begins in November of 2009 with 24-year-old James Burt.
Honestly, I'm more of like a Wii U person.
Australia. James lived with his parents at the time.
I honestly like Mario Bros. U better than Wii, to be in my opinion. I still think DS is. I still think Super Mario Bros. I still think DS is the top one, but to be honest, I prefer U better than Wii.
And had been described as a video game fanatic with a particular interest in Nintendo games and merchandise. One of the most anticipated Nintendo titles of 2009 was New Super Mario Bros. Wii, a multiplayer adaptation and expansion of the ideas presented in New Super Mario Bros. DS. You've all played this game, I don't even know why I'm explaining it to you. The game was primed to be a hot holiday commodity.
I haven't. I played like
James
1 hour
Burt
of
couldn't
it.
wait to get his hands on it. And fortunately for the man, this was one of those rare instances where Australia was actually slated to get access to the game before everybody else, with Australia getting it November 12th, USA November 15th, EU the 20th, and Japan on December the 3rd. But this November 12th release, see, James didn't even have to wait that long to get the game. As days before the new Super Mario Bros. Wii release, James was browsing around a local retail store's video game section and stumbled across an impossible sight. That sight being New Super Mario Bros. Wii on the shelf and available for purchase. Apparently, the retailer had mixed up the release date and put the game available for purchase on shelf days before Nintendo had intended. Thrilled at the idea of being one of the first in the world to play.
Damn, that's similar to the time when when Smash Bros. Ultimate got leaked in Mexico. Holy crap.
This game, James bought it and excitedly took his copy of NSMB Wii home. And at least for some time, James took to the internet to gloat in the face of other Nintendo gamers, flaunting his luck in finding and playing the new Super Mario Bros.
Honestly, if this was me, if I was in a situation where let's say Kingdom Hearts 4, let's put that an example. Let's say Kingdom Hearts 4 is set to release on set date, I don't know, March 2nd, September 11th. And I stumble across a store and they're selling the game extremely early. And I picked it up and I play and I realized that it's a real game. I would not go around bragging saying that I got Kingdom Hearts 4 early, or I found Kingdom Hearts 4 and I got it early. I would shut the hell up and wait I would wait a year or two just so I can brag it out then. Because honestly, because I don't want to get in trouble or I don't want to get the store in trouble or myself in trouble because I played a game early that was set to release a few days later. I'm just saying I wouldn't brag. That's kind of stupid juice right now.
Game before its official release date. James Burt uploaded a game file extracted from his copy of New Super Mario Bros. Onto the internet in an effort to concretely prove that he had access to the game. This would prove to be a life-ruining mistake. Yep. While James certainly confirmed ownership of the game with his file, he had also essentially engaged in piracy by uploading it, as it wouldn't take long for anonymous internet users to bypass the copy protection of the new Super Mario Bros. Game uploaded by James. These hackers essentially turning the game data uploaded by him to a publicly available ROM download for an unreleased title. And it's been reported that this file was accessed by close to 50,000 people. The copyright seers over at Nintendo almost immediately detected this disturbance in the force and sought out James Burt. Alleging the man of facilitating piracy, Nintendo sought out retribution, and on November 23rd of 2009, the company applied for a search order, as well as access to his social media accounts and emails. When the search was approved and executed, it gave Nintendo all the proof they needed. James had been caught red-handed. Nintendo would bring James to court for breaching Australia's Copyright Act, which essentially postulated that James Burt would have had permission from Nintendo before posting the game data to the internet. Several months later, in January of 2010, the man would ultimately decide to settle out of court for 1.5 million AUD. James would disappear after this settlement, and many assumed that the man had entered some sort of crippling depression after being hit with the hefty legal bill. However, the man would eventually pop up online again, and particularly on Reddit in December of 2013. His post read as follows: Aussie Nintendo pirate gets a gift from Nintendo. What? Hey there, James Burt from Australia here. Just saying, I think it's ironic that out of everyone in Australia they could have chosen, I get given a Ganon statue for being a good customer of Nintendo. And the way that he writes this makes it seem like Nintendo had sent him this Ganon statue as a FU, after the fact, but it actually has nothing to do with that.
To be fair, I think it's kind of lit. This is a cool statue, not gonna lie.
He got this from an EB Games store, they had sent it to him. But anyways.
Something I did in 2009 is still making traction around the internet. Every now and again, you get different creators, I'll put them on the screen, making videos about the time that I got sued by Nintendo. And not every part of it is true. So I'm going to make this my main YouTube channel from now on, being that my name is synonymous with things that have happened in the past. And I guess I can't run from that all. For those of you who come from I
do find his big nut shirt kind of funny. I don't know why. I'm a little mature. I find it. He has a nice shirt. Big nut.
a certain video that went up recently, and there's a picture of me on the thumbnail. That was from 12 years ago. I don't look like that anymore.
He really doesn't.
And there's a picture of me on the thumbnail.
He looks like he really went through like a story arc or something. I mean, obviously he did. He got sued by Nintendo, but it looks like he went through like a huge ass story arc that took like 2 seasons to complete.
That was from 12 years ago. I don't look like that anymore. Things have changed in 12.
I'd like to welcome you all to a little novelty Nintendo lightning round. These are stories that fit this overarching topic, but aren't really long enough for me to make all chapters about.
It's taking a while.
Let's get into it. Wario ecstasy pills. Ecstasy, MDMA, Molly, these pills tend to be quite cartoony, colorful, and come in all shapes and sizes, many of which have logos and brands pressed into them. You got Facebook Molly, Tesla Molly, Sprite Molly, you name it. One of the most bizarre are the Wario-shaped ones. On June 25th of 2019,
no Wario, don't drug the kids!
Satoshi Kishimoto was arrested in Tokushima, Japan for carrying 50 Wario-shaped ecstasy pills. It was the man's third offense for the possession of such drugs. Apparently, Satoshi was trying to smuggle the Wario narcotics into Japan from the Netherlands and Spain. According to drugsdata.org, it's alleged that the Wario ecstasy tablets are sourced from Switzerland. Fittingly, these
I like to imagine being an island being like, hey, you got the Wario? And they're like questioning you like, yes, I have Wario. Which one do you want? Wario Land 3 or do you want the pills? Make up your mind.
Wario tablets also appear to pack quite the punch.
Oh no!
Reportedly containing upwards of 300 milligrams of MDMA, which is double of what is considered an already high dosage. Many on Reddit have noted that Wario-sized tablets are actually quite the shrewd method of reducing your potential prison time if ever busted with these pillies. As the fewer pills you're caught with, the better. Quote, I've heard it's more from a legal point of view. Getting caught up with 1 or 2 pills is unlikely to result in serious repercussions. So you load them pills as high as you can so you don't need to carry so many. Also works from a marketing point of view. And if you want a recognizable character that takes allegedly sending nude imagery using a Nintendo DS app, SwapNote was a free-to-download Nintendo app that allowed users to create and share handwritten notes and drawings.
I remember using this. I never used it because I never have any friends with 3DSs.
Became available in December of 2011. The app allowed you to transfer files through SpotPass and link up with other friends on devices such as the 3DS.
Shit.
In April of 2013, SwapNote was updated by Nintendo to allow its users to send audio recordings and images. Sort of recreate a Mario Kart game, but on the streets in the real world.
Let me guess, it wasn't official.
Of various beloved Nintendo characters like Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, and more, and pitted friends and family while in costume against each other, bringing the video game to reality.
You're gonna throw shells at other people.
Company obviously extremely derivative of Nintendo's intellectual property. However, as you can imagine, Nintendo wasn't very happy with the go-kart company using their intellectual property. In February of 2017, Nintendo would file a lawsuit against Maricar and stated that the company never obtained permission to use the costumes that the entire business built its premise off of. After receiving legal threats from Nintendo, Maricar would rename themselves to Mari Mobility Development, but this didn't stop Nintendo from coming after them. In December of 2020, after
it was only
this
3
next
things,
story
man.
details some individuals that crossed Nintendo by uploading various ROMs of AAA titles to a website, the outcome being quite the expensive lawsuit. In the world of video game piracy, unauthorized copies of video games usually take the form of ROMs, or a read-only memory file. Their name refers to the process of copying a video game's data found on its disc or game cartridge and making this data available to be read and played on an emulator. ROM hosting websites gained popularity in the late 2000s and early 2010s as emulation became popular thanks to software such as Project 64 and the Dolphin emulator. The subjects of this legally contentious story that we're about to dive into involves an Arizona couple that created one of these ROM websites, that couple being Jacob and Christian Matthias. This husband and wife duo were responsible for creating LoveRoms.com and LoveRetro.co. These sites were essentially a repository where one could find ROM downloads of Nintendo games and software from Nintendo's expansive library. Their website was bringing in close to 17 million page visitors a month, and the website featured plenty of advertisements as well that paid out to the couple. But with the majority of their ROM downloads being AAA Nintendo titles like Mario, Zelda, and Pokemon, it would only be a matter of time before Nintendo caught wind of this and stepped in and upheld their reputation of being extremely copyright protective. Nintendo was seeking damages for what they saw as rampant piracy of their games and IP committed by this couple. The complaint suggested that Matthias Designs LLC should be responsible for paying $150,000 per game hosted on their platforms, and $2 million for each trademark that they had violated. Considering the fact that thousands of Nintendo games had been uploaded to their websites, that meant the company was requesting upwards of $100 million in damages. Clearly spooked by this massive request of damages, the couple reacted quickly to Nintendo's complaint and promptly took down both of their websites, Love Retro and Love ROMs. In July of 2018, after both sites had been removed, Love ROMs would publish a statement to Facebook. Quote, "All Nintendo titles have been removed from the site. Hashtag we'll update you later." Around this time, Nintendo would issue a statement to Kotaku.
They really did scare they really got scared by Nintendo that badly. Holy shit. But still, 150 for like games that are like no longer being remade, no longer being resold. Damn, that's fucking dumb. Especially like the 2 million trademark shit.
On the damages they were seeking. Quote, "This is a civil case involving multiple websites that host and promote legacy game ROMs for free and direct download. The sites include hundreds of pirated copies of Nintendo games for multiple Nintendo platforms. The most popular downloads on the website are Nintendo's first-party titles that have reportedly been downloaded more than 60 million times. The case also involves the unauthorized use and promotions of Nintendo's registered trademarks and copyrights." With strong posturing from Nintendo in full effect, the Matthias family would eventually admit wrongdoing.
Oh, damn, I had this on fucking 720p. I'm so sorry.
Seemed to be going all in on a settlement route. Several months later, in November of 2018, it was being reported that a settlement had been made between the couple and Nintendo. Jacob and his wife Christian had finished their negotiations with Nintendo. This negotiation ending in an eye-popping settlement. A settlement detailing that Jacob and Christian would pay out to the gaming giant $12,230,000 in damages. And after reaching this settlement, the couple would issue an apology to Nintendo on the internet. It's clear that Nintendo views ROM websites as direct competition to their own proprietary emulation packages. That being said, to me, this lawsuit was less about damages and it was more about sending a message so they could essentially, nip the seed in the bud before ROM sites became an epidemic. Now, there's a looming threat around hosting a ROM website. And if this was the case, their scare tactics seemed to work at the time. In the wake of the Love ROM settlement, the second largest ROM website, EMU ROMs, was shut down by its owner. This host fearing that if he maintained his operations, Nintendo would come for him next. And as years have passed, ROM hosting websites have become fewer and far between as the threat of a Nintendo clampdown looms over any who dare host these files. As for Jacob and Christian, it's unknown what the couple is up to these days, and it's not even really been confirmed if they've ever had to make any payments to Nintendo. Needless to say, they'll be remembered throughout history as the example set by Nintendo when it comes to these ROM websites. Their case being pointed to by Nintendo critics as proof of Nintendo's aggressive intellectual property protection.
Yeah, I will admit, if you do own a ROM website and you're still hosting it, I'll give props to you. I'm not going to try and rat you out. I was going to do like a little bit where I just go to a ROM website saying like, yeah, okay, they did send a message out to everybody, but yeah, they're still doing it, but yeah, no. But yeah, honestly, Nintendo is that fucking scary, and I'm honestly scared about what they're gonna do about Dolphin, with the recent drama about that.